afternoon. I'm Commander Glenn Frame from Tasmania Police. Last night at about 7:45 p.m. we became aware of a threat to the University of Tasmania, to staff and students. As a result of that, communication was had with the university. The threat was looked at. We started to analyse the threat in conjunction with other threats received around Australia, and as a result of that, some security measures were put in place in agreement with the university. As a result of further analysis today, and in conjunction with other jurisdictions, we can advise that we no longer consider the threat to be genuine, and we do not believe it poses a threat to staff or students. We've been liaising with the university on this matter, and we can reassure students and staff they can continue to go about their business as normal. The threat, which was posted on a social site, was similar to those received in other universities, although not exactly. As the safety of the community, students and staff is a priority for all of us. We deployed police resources at UTAS campuses across Tasmania as a precaution and for reassurance, whilst an assessment was undertaken. Those resources will now be withdrawn, and however, University of Tasmania and Tasmania Police will continue to work closely together to continue to assess the situation. As always, if anyone sees anything suspicious or out of the ordinary, we ask them to contact Tasmania Police on 131 444 or the National Security Hotline at 1800 1234 00. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
What's the process in determining whether a threat is credible or not?
Clearly at 10 or 11 o'clock at night it's difficult to do that, so we put processes in place for this morning, and our intelligence area, the State Intelligence Service, undertook an assessment in conjunction with other jurisdictions and national colleagues to determine the credibility rating of the threat, and we have since downgraded our response.
It's sort of the exam period at unis now. Is this the modern day equivalent of the old bomb hoax if you're not quite ready for an exam, or is it something more serious than that?
We certainly don't think that on this occasion. We believe that the threat is consistent with other jurisdictions' threats, so we don't think it's a local incident that's occurred, and we can't really determine whether that's the case or not, but we don't think so.
It's not believe it's the same offender as UNSW?
That's the most likely scenario at this stage. Without apprehending the offender, we can't guarantee that it's not a copycat, but that's certainly the position we're adopting and we're thinking at this stage, based on the intelligence.
This appears to be quite a common thing that happens on 4chan, that social media site. Is it linked to all those other threats against universities that are made across the world?
Yeah, look, that's what we're looking at this stage, and there is evidence to suggest that. They're certainly not identical, but there's enough similarities for us to consider that that's the most likely scenario. Social media is a fantastic thing for a lot of people, but it creates the opportunity for these sort of things to occur.
Do they have like a green frog in the images of the threat?
No, not that I'm aware of.
It's not credible, but is it obviously a reminder that Tasmania is not immune from getting these sorts of threats?
Look, the issue with the internet is it's worldwide, and it's very easy for people to post right across the world, and tracking down where they come from, and assessing the information does take time. And on this occasion, with the university, we took, I think, a reasonable approach with providing security and safety without hopefully providing fear and apprehension. So we took a reasonable approach while we could assess the information.
Who noticed it?
Sorry?
Who noticed it?
It was posted and it was sent to the university security, and they processed it from there.
Who sent it to the security?
That might be something Chris might be able to answer, but I'm not too sure, to be honest. Our people who are analysing would know, but I don't know off the top of my head.
And did police ask for the site to take it down?
That was taken down from the site shortly thereafter, but not by police.
Have they been cooperative at all? Have you had any interaction with 4chan?
There's been interaction over the last 24 hours from national jurisdictions in relation to it. So yes, we're following it up and we're trying to find the source.
Can you say any more about the nature of the threat?
Other than it mentioned the University of Tasmania generally, and there was no specific campus identified, and it related to threats of violence.
Did it say things like, don't come to university tomorrow?
Yes, it was similar. Yeah.
And in terms of firearms, I think there was something in the UNSW one that said there'd be a mass shooting. Anything of that description?
Yeah, they're very similar in that regard.
The one at UNSW targeted, it mentioned Australian students to stay away from the campus or the university. Was that what this one indicated?
No, there was no nationality identified.
Were they basically identical?
No, they weren't identical. No, there were some similarities. Had it been identical, it probably would have been a little bit easier to analyse it, but there were a number of enough similarities for us to be able to determine that they were likely to come from the same source.
Is your message still for Tasmanians to be alert but not alarmed?
Yes, we'd encourage people if they see something out of the ordinary, something suspicious, to let us know, and we can make inquiries, we can conduct investigations and take appropriate action without overreacting.
In your opinion, how well prepared was UTAS for this event?
Oh, very well prepared, and Chris can speak shortly about it, but we've exercised these type of scenarios. The relationship is very healthy, and the security personnel at the university and the police manage this, I think, particularly well.
So what happens after today? Will there be increased security for the foreseeable future?
We'll continue with passing attention and continue to assess what's happening interstate and the threats that have occurred, and we'll adjust accordingly. So it's a never-ending feast as far as that's concerned. We'll continue to assess and adjust in conjunction with the university.
What was the nature of Tasmania Police's role today? Was it inside buildings or out in courtyards? What did they actually operations?
We placed uniform officers, a small number of uniform officers at each of the major campuses, and we had roving patrols around external campuses. I suppose there are a number of facilities, university facilities in southern Tasmania and on the northwest coast and in Launceston. So we had roving patrols of those, and we had specific police at the major campuses. It was only a small number, and it was more about reassuring and being able to respond if something did occur.
Can you put a figure on how many units were deployed statewide?
Yeah, we put 2 uniformed officers at each of the campuses, and then we had other resources that were out and about patrolling to randomly patrol the other facilities.
If something was to happen, do you think that was enough?
Yes, if something had happened, we would have been able to get resources there very quickly. With a non-specific threat, if you put resources somewhere without the intelligence support it actually decreases their ability to respond somewhere else.
Is this the first incident like this that Tasmania Police has had to respond to?
No, over the years we've responded to many threats. The internet adds another complexity to it, but it's something part of our core business.
But is this the first, you're aware, the first mass shooting threat at a university in Tasmania?
That I'm aware of, but I certainly wouldn't exclude that it hasn't happened before, and certainly I believe it may have happened at other venues other than the university. So we'll respond and react accordingly.
Was a counter-terrorism unit of Tasmania Police involved?
They were involved in the initial stages, but the threat didn't suggest a link to counter-terrorism, so it was passed on to me as the Southern District Commander to coordinate.
And was SOG put on notice?
No, they weren't put on notice last night, but today they were aware of the situation and the specialist groups were notified and aware of it.
And are you continuing to work with New South Wales Police to determine the offender, I suppose?
Yes, we'll work with New South Wales Police, the Australian Federal Police and any other jurisdictions that might have been affected by this.
Given the complexity of the internet and the web, do you imagine you'll have much success in tracing the offender?
It's always problematic for us in identifying where the offender may be. Gathering the evidence to do so, it's problematic on the web, but we'll certainly give our best shot.
Does it raise concerns that we don't have AFP officers at our major airports?
No, there's no link, no correlation as far as I'm concerned.
Did they lend a hand?
Certainly they were involved in the investigation, both linking what's happening interstate and yes, so yes, we had a close liaison with the AFP.
You've been an officer for many years now. Is this kind of terrorism angle or these threats an emerging aspect of Tasmania Police?
Look, they're just another crime that needs to be investigated, and this is a crime making threats, so we'll investigate it as such, but it's just another crime as far as I'm concerned, and we deal with it accordingly.
Can I just clarify something? You think it's linked to other threats around the country to universities, but then there was some mention of similar threats being made to international universities. Are you saying the same gibber is doing the threats in Tasmania nationally and internationally, or this person's copying international?
It could be either. My feeling, or the initial analysis, is that it's likely to be the same person internationally as well as nationally, but it's only early in the investigation. But what we can reassure people is we don't believe there's a threat within Tasmania, so that's the most important message I think we need to get out there.
And I guess I was downplaying a bit before with, comparing it to the old sort of telephoned in bomb hoaxes that we used to have during exams, but is this just a new platform to make those sort of fear generating threats?
Yeah, I think the web provides provides a lot of opportunities for a lot of offences, not only these types, but fraud, child exploitation. There's a whole lot of offences that come through social media and through the internet. So, and it's an area that we're aware of and we're managing as an organisation.
Are you building up your, I guess, web-based investigation?
We have got a capacity there and we are building it up, and it's something we continually need to reassess.
Are you worried about copycat at all?
There's always a risk of that.